In 1975, nearly half of all American families owned a pickup truck. And if you experienced life in the 1970s or were growing up in the 60s and 70s in small-town America, there's a good chance you spent at least one summer afternoon sitting right in the bed of that truck, wind in your hair, no seatbelt in sight, and not a single worry in the world. Today you could get pulled over for it. Back then, it was just called Saturday. Do you remember what it felt like to sit back there with your siblings or cousins, watching the road stretch out behind you, feeling completely and utterly free? This is one of those things we did as kids that would be illegal today. If you do, this story is for you. Welcome to Golden Days, USA. Close your eyes for just a moment. Remember the warmth of that metal truck bed on a July afternoon during those summers in the 1970s. The ridged floor pressing against your palms as you steadied yourself around a corner. The smell of cut grass and gasoline mixed together in the summer air, a smell that defined the good old days in America. You could hear the engine rumbling beneath you, the tires humming against sun-softened pavement, maybe a dog barking from a yard you passed, the laughter of your brother beside you as your dad took a bump just a little too fast, and you both bounced an inch off that hard metal floor. These are the baby boomer memories and Gen X childhood experiences that stay with us forever. Your hair whipped wild in every direction. Your shirt billowed behind you like a flag. The sun warmed your shoulders. And somehow in that rushing wind surrounded by nothing but sky and possibility, you felt safer than you ever had in your entire life. That feeling, it stays with you, doesn't it? That was life before cell phones, before the internet changed everything, when the world moved at a gentler pace. After World War II, America was building. This was the beginning of the golden age of America. Highways stretched across the country like ribbons. Suburbs bloomed where farmland once stood. And the pickup truck became the workhorse of the American family, especially in rural America and growing communities where hard work was a way of life. Dads drove them to job sites before sunrise. Farmers used them for hauling feed and fence posts. Family life in the 1950s and 1960s meant everyone pitched in, and families piled into those trucks for weekend errands and Sunday afternoon drives to Grandma's house 3 counties over. There wasn't always enough room in the cab for everyone, but that was perfectly fine, because the bed of that truck wasn't just cargo space. It became an unofficial passenger seat reserved for the young and the adventurous. Nobody thought twice about it. This was how America used to be. Kids rode back there to the hardware store, to the swimming hole, to the county fair on a warm September evening. It was simply how things were done in a country that trusted its neighbors, looked after its children, and didn't need a government pamphlet to explain how to raise a family right. Those were simpler times when life was different. Let me paint you a picture of what life was really like in 1972. It's a Saturday morning in a small town somewhere in the heartland, the kind of classic American small town you see in old photographs. Your dad's got his Ford F-100 pickup truck parked in the gravel driveway, forest green with a little rust creeping around the wheel wells and a dent in the tailgate from backing into the barn 2 summers ago. He's got errands to run today. Feed store first, then the lumberyard for some 2x4s. Maybe stop by the old Texaco gas station for a fill-up. 35 cents a gallon back then, if you can believe it. That's what gas prices in the 1970s looked like, something unimaginable today. You and your younger brother race each other to the truck. You climb into the back and he follows right behind. No one hands you a helmet, no one buckles you in. Your mother watches from the front porch, dish towel draped over her shoulder, coffee cup in hand. This was parenting in the 1970s, built on trust, common sense, and community. "You boys hold on tight now," she calls out, "and that's all the safety instruction you need. That's all you've ever needed." This was how kids grew up in the old days. The engine turns over with a familiar rumble. The truck pulls onto Main Street. You sit with your back pressed against the cab, legs stretched out in front of you, feeling every vibration of the road beneath you. The morning sun is already warm on your face. This is what growing up in America before technology felt like, pure, unfiltered, and real. You pass the old five and dime store where candy bars are still a nickel and comic books cost 12 cents. The classic American barber shop with that spinning red and white pole that's been there since your grandfather was a boy. The Gulf filling station where old Mr. Patterson sits in a faded lawn chair sipping coffee and watching the world go by at its proper pace. You wave to him. He waves back. That's just what folks did in old America, in those neighborhoods where everyone knew each other. At the feed store, the truck rolls to a stop and you hop out before your dad even shuts off the engine. You help him load 50-pound bags of seed into the bed, stacking them neat and tight. Your muscles burn, your back aches, but you don't complain. Not once, because this is what men do. This is how you learn your place in the world. This was how children learned responsibility in the old days. Your dad buys you each a cold bottle of Coca-Cola from the old vending machine outside. 10 cents, and you drink it right there in the parking lot, savoring every sweet fizzy sip. Those are the things that don't exist anymore, the simple pleasures that defined childhood in the 1960s and 1970s. Back in the truck, you ride standing up this time, one hand gripping the side rail, the other shielding your eyes from the sun. You watch the town shrink behind you as your dad heads out past the edge of civilization, down that old dirt road toward the old swimming hole 3 miles out, one of those places we played as kids that are gone now. The dust kicks up behind you like a cloud of gold. The wind tastes like freedom and summer and everything good about being young. This was when kids played outside all day, before video games, before smartphones, when imagination was your only entertainment. That afternoon you swim until your arms are tired and your fingers are pruned. You skip stones across the water. You eat bologna sandwiches wrapped in wax paper that your mother packed that morning, the bread a little warm and soft from sitting in the sun. It's the best meal you've ever had. This was summer vacation in the 1970s. No camps, no schedules, just endless days of freedom. And when it's finally time to head home, sunburned and exhausted, you climb back into that truck bed without a word. You lie flat on your back, staring up at the sky as the trees pass overhead. Your dad takes the long way home. The sky turns pink, then orange, then a deep, peaceful purple. And you realize, though you're too young to have the words for it yet, that this is happiness. Simple, unfiltered, completely real. This is what life was like before everything changed. Now let me ask you something. What truck did your family have back then? Was it a Ford pickup, a Chevy truck from the 60s, or a Dodge with that slant 6 engine that never quit? Maybe you remember those station wagons of the 1970s too? Tell me about it in the comments below. I'd truly love to hear your story about your childhood memories from the golden age. It didn't disappear overnight, but slowly, quietly, things began to shift. The end of an era in America came gradually. By the late 1980s and into the 90s, new laws started appearing on the books. States began passing regulations about passengers and safety restraints. Insurance companies raised concerns about liability. Seatbelt requirements expanded, and riding in the back of a pickup truck went from common to discouraged, and eventually, in most places, flat out illegal. This became one of those things that were normal in the 70s but are illegal now. Now, let's be fair. There were accidents over the years. There were tragedies, and no one with a good heart wishes those on anyone. But something else was lost along the way too, something harder to measure, something that doesn't show up in statistics or safety reports. This is what we lost when America changed. We lost a little bit of that unspoken trust, that deep sense that communities could govern themselves, that parents knew what was best for their own children, that not every moment of life needed a rule book and a warning label. The America we grew up in understood these things without being told. Trucks got bigger, they got fancier. Extended cabs meant more seats inside, more air conditioning, more isolation from the world outside the windows. Carpools and minivans replaced piling into the back with your cousins. and children started spending more time buckled in, staring at glowing screens, than feeling the wind on their faces and the sun on their shoulders. This is how technology changed childhood and why kids today will never understand what we experienced. It's not that progress is entirely bad. Of course it isn't. But sometimes progress moves so fast that we forget to look back. We forget to honor what made life feel so rich and connected in the first place. We forget the way things used to be in America. When I think about riding in the back of that old American pickup truck, I don't just remember the truck itself. I remember my father's steady hands on the wheel, my mother's quiet trust as she watched us pull away down the road. I remember the weight of a 50-pound feed bag on my shoulder and the pride of being useful, of being needed. I remember feeling like I belonged to something, to a family, to a town, to a country that still believed in hard work and handshakes and wide-open skies. That was the real America, the America our grandparents built. Those truck rides were never really about transportation. They were about connection, about earning freedom through responsibility, about learning mile by dusty mile how to be part of something bigger than yourself. These are the memories that shaped a generation, the experiences that made baby boomers and Gen X who we are today. We may not be able to go back to those days, but we can hold on to what they taught us, and we can share these memories with the people who truly understand, people who remember when America was great, when life was simpler, and when childhood meant something different. If this brought back memories of the good old days, please like and subscribe to Golden Days USA. We have many more journeys down memory lane waiting for you. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.